Why people keep drowning at lakes, specifically shallow or same location, spirit of the lake. Before we start, please hit like and subscribe for more stories like this. Before you ever step into a lake at night, remember this: the water does not have to be deep to take a life. People imagine drowning as a violent thing: arms thrashing, voices screaming, someone fighting hard enough for everyone on shore to notice. But most of the time, the water takes people quietly. A head dips under, a mouth opens without a sound, and a person who was laughing seconds ago becomes a shadow beneath the surface. So tonight, I want you to listen closely, because this is not just a ghost story. This is a warning about lakes, rivers, shallow coves, river mouths, old dams, and those strange places where people keep drowning again and again. Even when the water looks calm, even when the victim is healthy, even when everybody swears they knew how to swim. And before we go any deeper, comment below if you, your family, or someone you know has ever heard crying near a lake at night, seen a figure standing in the water, or felt something brush against your ankle where nothing should have been. Some people say these deaths are accidents. Some say they're occurrence, drop-offs, cold shock, panic, hidden branches, or exhaustion. But in certain towns, where the same bend in the river keeps collecting names, and the same lake keeps calling people toward one quiet spot, the old people do not say accident. They say the water remembers. They say every lake has a bottom, but some lakes also have a hunger. And when darkness falls and the shore goes empty, the dead do not always stay beneath the surface. Sometimes they call for family. Sometimes they cry and sob in the reeds. And sometimes, if you answer, the lake answers back. There's evil waiting there for weak souls. Here is the part people do not want to believe: shallow water can kill a strong swimmer. A healthy person can drown in water that barely reaches the chest, because drowning is not always about depth. It is about breath, panic, fatigue, shock, and losing control for just a few seconds. Cold water can steal the first breath from your lungs, forcing a gasp when your face is too close to the surface. A sudden drop-off can turn knee-deep water into open water in one step. A current near a pier, river mouth, or low dam can pull sideways, downward, and away from shore faster than the mind understands what is happening. And then there is shallow water blackout, the silent thief. It can happen when swimmers hold their breath too long, especially after hyperventilating. The body delays the urge to breathe, oxygen drops, and the swimmer blacks out underwater without a struggle. To people watching from shore, it can look like the person is floating, playing, or simply staying under for a little too long. That is why the legends grow. Because when someone strong disappears in 3 feet of water, people search for a reason bigger than physics. They whisper about a hand beneath the surface. They say a dead voice called a swimmer by name. They swear the lake chose that person. Maybe the truth is colder than the ghost story, and maybe the ghost story is just the shape our fear takes when science cannot comfort us. But ask yourself this: why do some places collect so many endings? Why does one cove, one bend, one shallow shelf, one calm-looking stretch of river become known by locals as the spot you avoid? The water has explanations. The people have warnings. And the dead, if the stories are true, have unfinished invitations. Across America, certain waters carry reputations that feel heavier than weather. Lake Lanier in Georgia is one of the most famous. It is beautiful in daylight, wide and crowded with boats, but its history is tangled with submerged roads, old structures, grief, and stories of a lady of the lake. People talk about swimmers being pulled under, strange figures near the shoreline, and a feeling that the lake was built over memories that never agreed to be buried. In New York, Lake Ronkonkoma has its own old legend: the Indian princess, sometimes called the Lady of the Lake, said in folklore to claim a man each year. Locals also describe old drop-offs and deep places that surprise swimmers, which is exactly how a normal lake becomes a supernatural warning. Then there are the Great Lakes, especially near piers, breakwalls, and river mouths, where dangerous currents can form in water that looks peaceful from the beach. Lake Michigan has taken many swimmers who thought they were close enough to shore to be safe. Lake Huron has places where river mouths can shift the bottom, making shallow walking suddenly become a fight against invisible force. Rivers have their own ghosts. The Kern River in California is called deadly for a reason, with warning signs that count the lives lost since the late 1960s. And across the country, low-head dams are called drowning machines, because the water below them can trap swimmers in a circulating hydraulic that looks small, but behaves like a rotating mouth. So where should people avoid? Avoid swimming near dams, spillways, piers, bridge pilings, river mouths, fast bends, drop-offs, submerged trees, and quiet coves with heavy boat traffic. Avoid any place locals warn you about, especially when the warning sounds like superstition. Because sometimes superstition is just safety, wearing a funeral mask. There is a kind of lake story told in almost every town. It starts with a place everyone knows, a shallow shelf near the shore, a place where kids stand waist-deep and dare each other to swim out to the darker water. Parents sit under umbrellas. Boats hum in the distance. The sun makes diamonds on the surface. And then, one summer, someone vanishes there. Not far out. Not during a storm. Right there, in the place where the water should have been safe. Witnesses say the person looked confused, as if listening to something beneath the surface. One hand lifted, not waving, not asking for help, just reaching, as if someone below had taken hold. Then the face went blank, the body lowered, and the lake closed over them without a splash. After that, the stories begin. At dusk, people hear crying from the water, not loud crying, but the broken sob of someone trying not to be heard. Sometimes it sounds like a mother. Sometimes it sounds like a brother. Sometimes it sounds exactly like a family member who died years ago, calling from the middle of the lake, asking why no one came back. The worst stories happen after midnight. A fisherman hears his daughter whisper, "Daddy, I'm cold." A teenager hears his best friend laughing from the black water, even though the friend is asleep miles away. A woman walking the shore hears her husband say her name from beneath the dock, soft and patient, like he has been waiting for her for years. And every time someone answers, the water moves. Not with waves, with intention. The old people say the lake is not full of bodies. It is full of echoes. It borrows the voices of grief because grief makes people step closer. It does not chase you. It does not need to. It calls from the one shallow spot everyone thinks is safe. And when you lean over to listen, something cold touches your ankle. So here is the ending, and this part matters. If you go to a lake, a river, a reservoir, or any natural body of water, wear a properly fitted life jacket, even if you know how to swim. Do not swim alone. Do not drink and get in the water. Do not trust shallow water near drop-offs, dams, piers, river mouths, submerged trees, cold currents, or places where warning signs are posted. Swim only in designated areas when possible, and if locals tell you not to enter a certain cove, listen to them. Because whether you believe in spirits or not, water does not forgive pride. It does not care how strong you are. It does not care how many times you swam there before. And if you ever hear someone calling from the lake after dark, do not walk closer to check. Call for help, shine a light from shore, and keep your feet on dry ground. A living person needs rescue. A dead voice needs distance. Maybe the spirit of the lake is only a story we tell ourselves after another name is added to another warning sign. Or maybe every drowning leaves something behind, one last breath, one last panic, one last thought of a family waiting on the shore. Maybe those thoughts sink down into the mud, collect beneath the docks, and rise at night as whispers. So when the moon is pale, and the trees are black, and the lake looks smooth as glass, remember this warning. If the water says your name, do not answer. If it sounds like someone you love, do not answer. And if you hear crying from the middle of the lake, crying that stops the moment you turn around, leave before the sobbing starts again. Because the lake may be shallow near the shore, but the thing waiting underneath is bottomless. Thank you for your support, and thank you for tuning into our stories. Some are fiction and some are based on a true event. We would really appreciate it if you could like this video, share, and subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned for a new story every day.